Good morning. How did you get on your own yesterday? Must win for Luton, and they were oh so close to a last gasp winner yesterday, apart from Brathwaite getting his leg in the way. Good equaliser. Adebayo is the key player for Luton. They have missed him. He looks a class act up front. Don't know if you went for the equaliser. It was up to you. First goal for Everton was a penalty. Luton do score. Toulouse will be disappointed not to have got a result here yesterday. Even down to 10 men, Montpellier scored the winner. This is what I was talking to you about, knowing sides. Toulouse, the mighty Hoff, not very reliable. We stick Man United in there as well. Elsewhere, Torino and Bologna. Well, 0-0 is always on the cards with Torino, with that under 1.5 goal pattern and their very solid defensive pattern. So if they don't score and they keep a clean sheet, this is what happens. I wouldn't have taken that 0-0 on myself, given the Torino under 2.5 goal, under 1.5 goal pattern. Very good defensively. Almere and Heerenveen, 2.4 the favourite. Not sure I would have played this one. Sittard and Go Ahead Eagles, again, a poor result, 2.3 the favourites. Just a reminder to you about these odds, 2.3, 2.4, 2.7. They can often suggest tough matches to call. Sittard even had an orangutan in the team and still couldn't cross the line. They will be disappointed because they dominated the in-play stats, as you can see quite clearly on your left. This is one I would have laid the late draw in, given this stat here, 17 shots off target. 8 corners is a good stat as well. It's just one-way traffic for Fortuna Sittard, so you can arguably say that Go Ahead Eagles defensively pretty stout yesterday. I would have laid this 1.25 or lower, laying that draw. Getafe and Atletico Bilbao. Well, this went the way of expectation, really. The side with Champions League ambitions or European club competition ambitions, even down to player not on the pitch. That must have been a manager or something. Even down to 9, they still obliged. Just tells you Getafe are not quite up to scratch, are they? So those were the main matches yesterday. Let's just have a look at some of the other peripheral leagues. English League One, well, they're either going to be 1-0 nervy affairs or they could be goal fests. I can't read these playoffs. They could swing either one way or the other. It could be a nervy affair, 0-0, and then a late 1-0, or it could be like yesterday, Bolton coming from behind to really dominate. Oh, no, they didn't. They scored first with Charlie Charles, scoring the first 2 goals. He'll be delighted with this performance. Robbie Williams popping up for the 94th minute not a consolation, but just put the cherry on top. So in the second leg, I think it's a 2-legged affair. Yeah. You're going to have to look for over 2.5 goals and a possibility of a goal before half-time when Bolton play Barnsley in the second leg. So watch out for that. It could be on Monday, I think. Under 21s, or rather, it's called the Premier League 2 and a Professional Development League, but it's all a raft of under 21s. I have mentioned this in the past. Goals, goals, goals. Over 2.5 goal, at least. Now, I'm not a big fan of trading 2.5 goals. I'm reacting. I'm a reactive trader. I'm not preempting. The whole point of reacting is to see what happens as the match unfolds. But if you were wanting to get a trade on pre-match, over 2.5 goals in the Professional Development League, in the Premier League 2, and in the Dutch Eerste Divisie, I think these are going to be your main leagues for 2.5 goals. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. The 2-0s, they're a bit frustrating, but you will get a play if you get a goal before half-time. We didn't do in this occasion. And we didn't do in this occasion, I don't think. No. So it's hit or miss, this 2.5 goal thing. That would have been a losing 2.5 goal trade, wouldn't it? Because the market's running out of time. They don't think there'll be 3 goals in the second half. Finnish Veikkausliiga, just to remind you, VPS, very strong favourite yesterday and thoroughly deserved this win. If you're following the in-play stats, could have laid the draw second half. If the favourite scores first, you can cash out quite easily. Dusseldorf and Nuremberg. I don't know why I've got this starred. It must be an odds-on favourite there. 1.36 favourite. Just a reminder to you, that's why I've got this starred. 3-0, 3-1, any other home score for 1.35 or lower. Premier Division, I actually traded this one yesterday. Shamrock Rovers equaliser. And it came before half-time. St Pat's and Drogs. This is another one of those you could play via in-play stats. Now, first half, 11 shots off target for St Pat's. Absolutely dominated the first half. You could have arguably had a look in the half-time market to see if St Pat's could score. Either a 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted half-time score market, or lay the draw in a half-time score market as late as you dare. You'd have been amply rewarded with a 45th plus minute goal. Those are old pals, the Eerste Divisie and Dundee United. If you spotted this one yesterday, absolutely emphatic performance after conceding the first goal to Mr. Stanway. Sibbald 40, Fotheringham, Wotherspoon. What is this? The posh club up at Dundee United. Fotheringham, Wotherspoon. Hello. I'm going with Fotheringham up front. We're going to score some goals, don't you know? Is Sibbald coming? Yes. It's a good result there. Lay Partick Thistle, and off we go. You could have been out by half-time. Always encourage getting involved before the half-time market, because if the side you fancy get that goal before half-time, you can actually get out with a profit. Very strong performance. If you have, yet again, if you have an in-play stats feed, you'd have seen what I'd have seen. Absolute dominance from Dundee all the way through, apart from the corner count. But when you've got shots on and shots off, first half and second half in particular, they upped it solidly, didn't they? 10 shots in total, 6 of them on target. Excellent performance from Dundee United. Nice and simple. Let's have a look at the tennis from yesterday. I don't know if there was much going on, but do try and spend a few minutes just looking at the tennis. It's not going to take much of your time up, and it will just get your mind working. What would I have done here? Well, I could have taken on a Rublev lead here. And I've got a new kind of a strategy, which is to wait until the service game in the second set. So, for example, that's exactly it. Rublev, well, lost their serve. So this is the difficult part. Because with Rublev losing his serve, his odds would have risen. And I don't want to be laying him. What I want to see would have been Taylor Fritz losing his first serve game after serving first, if that makes sense. So what I would have liked to have seen, ideally, would be to Rublev to win his service game, Taylor Fritz to lose his. What happens then? Rublev's odds drop dramatically. Taylor Fritz's rise dramatically. Then we lay Rublev at even lower odds, back Taylor Fritz at even bigger odds. It's just a way I've come up with to limit liability. And if, as in this case, Taylor Fritz couldn't cross the line, then your risk is lowered considerably. Great performance from Rublev. He's really hit a strong set of form recently. What a pity for Lehecka that he had to retire. This is Auger Aliassime is having a charmed Madrid campaign. This is 2 consecutive matches he hasn't needed to play. So he's leading a charmed life. You might want to get Auger Aliassime to buy your lottery tickets for you. On to today, and it's the English Championship, which will be finalised at 12:30. I won't do a live stream at 12:30. I'll do it at 2 p.m. Because you're probably going to be up to something. It's a bank holiday. But I'll be around from 2 p.m. onwards. Hopefully there'll be some people turning up. You might have other plans. I do miss these bank holidays. We don't have them really in Thailand. We've just had Songkran, which is the biggest water fight on the planet. That lasted a week. And then it's hot, and some parts of Thailand don't have water. So humanity is very strange. English Premier League. Arsenal have to win. Bournemouth have very little to play for. It's a very simple angle. 1.17, I wouldn't immediately be thinking 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. I would be thinking functional Arsenal win. 3 points is more important than trying to get what the market expects. Brentford and Fulham is a London derby. These two have got very little to play for. So just be very careful as we enter the final stages of the English Premier League, German Bundesliga et al. Burnley and Newcastle, well, it's must-win territory for Burnley, with Luton drawing yesterday. Have a look in the standings. You'll see that this Luton draw has given Burnley a slight hope. 24 points, they must win. Quite simply must win. You've got a game in hand. Luton failed to win yesterday, though. They were mighty close. Must win. Quite simple. They might be down if they lose today. A draw will be tolerable. It will keep Luton and Nottingham Forest within spitting distance, but also Nottingham Forest have a game in hand. So you'll be laying the late draw in this particular Burnley-Newcastle match. Got to be careful with Newcastle, though. They do have a very solid forward line. Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest. Again, this is a must-win for Nottingham Forest against an already relegated Sheffield United. Sheffield United still might have a say in this. They are at home. This is one of their final home matches in the Premier League at this juncture. So you'd expect them to give a solid display at home. They're not going to be rolling down and getting their tummy tickled. Nottingham Forest, it's a must-win, or must equal or improve on what Burnley do. Quite simple. Man City must win again against Wolves. I think my knee-jerk reaction is that 1.08 is very, very dismissive of Wolves at the moment. Looking at recent results, they're not turning these short prices really into 3+ goals. Yes, they did against Man City, but not so against Nottingham Forest. 1-0 against Chelsea, that's the FA Cup. Luton, well, they are turning them into 4+ goals. So we might see what we're expecting. 1.08, which is a goal before half-time at least. 3-0, 3-1, any other home score. So watch out for that. Kevin De Bruyne has been in quite outstanding form of late. French Ligue 1 we'll be looking at in play only. I'm not going to research French Ligue 1, but do have a look at the standings. A matter of matches left. Just make sure you know where the teams are. Make sure you know or have an element of motivation there. So we've got Le Havre. Let's see if we can get Le Havre. Oh, there they are. Le Havre and Strasbourg, still relegation threatened Le Havre. Strasbourg as well, or arguably with a 7-point gap. They are edging towards safety, Strasbourg. Monaco and Clermont. Monaco, for me, look a very good trading side indeed. Second in the league. They're not going to be catching PSG, but they will be trying to assure Champions League football. Lille and Nice are arguably the two sides who could get the better of them for that top 3 Champions League spot. Metz and Clermont. Metz, desperate need for points, as you can see. But they are in the relegation playoff place. So that's, if you're going to be unable to get out of the bottom 3, that's where you want to be. You get another shot at staying up. Rennes, 9th in the league, mid-table mediocrity, you'd say, but they're only 7 points shy of a top 6 European berth. So there's plenty of action to go for Rennes. Brest and Nantes. Brest have been the side this season, have really stood out. A win for them today could help assure Champions League football, which for a side like Brest would be an absolute boon this season. Nantes are still relegation threatened. So there's plenty for all of these French Ligue 1 sides to play with. We'll play 4 today. So we'll be following that one with interest in what is going to be a very, very busy old Saturday. German Bundesliga. I've done a full research for you. So if you want to go in more in depth, members of footballtradingprofits.com, if you want to go more in depth, I've got all of the research available here for you. Dortmund and Augsburg. This could be a banana skin for Dortmund. It could be one of those matches where the manager's going to rest some players. They are leading in the Champions League semi-final. They can't win the title. And if they get to the Champions League final, then they won't need that Champions League place in the standings. So 1.83 looks a bit shaky to me. I expect some of the stars to be rested. They are fifth at the moment. They have a huge gap to Eintracht Frankfurt. So in that regard, they can sacrifice 3 points today. Wouldn't be a backer of the Yellows today, that's for sure. Stuttgart and Bayern Munich, this is turning into a dead rubber. We've also got the Champions League element for Bayern Munich. Away from home, you've seen it in the last two matches in the Champions League. Bayern Munich have either conceded first or they've conceded after they've scored. Don't forget that famous loss against Heidenheim was down to it being pre-Champions League. Stuttgart will be interested in the Champions League places, so this could be one. Again, got Leipzig. No, this is the team that you're worried about, Frankfurt. So arguably, you can see all these arrows. It's job done. So this is your good old-fashioned dead rubber. Okay? Be very careful. Werder Bremen against Mönchengladbach. 2.25 the favourite is edging towards no thank you. Simple as that. But is there any motivation for these two sides? Both mid-table mediocrity, you'd argue, but with only 4 points above the relegation zone for Mönchengladbach, the onus really is on them to get the win today. Werder Bremen are edging towards safety. They're even edging towards a top 7 berth, which is very strange. They're still relegation threatened, arguably, or not realistically. They won't be caught, but they're still up for a shout with that excellent win, or a couple of wins recently as well. Get them up to 40 points. They could be in Europe, Werder Bremen. So this is still has plenty to play for. Got to be careful with these dead rubbers like Stuttgart, Bayern Munich, okay? Köln and Freiburg. Let's have a look at where these two are. We have to look at the standings now. We're changing our research approach. We're looking for context. We're looking for teams with need. And Köln have plenty of need, although they're still going to remain second bottom with a win today. But they must win to give them a chance at that 16th place for Mainz if Mainz don't win today. Plenty going on there. Monza and Lazio, I'd be favouring Lazio here slightly. Inter Milan have nothing to play for. They are champions, but they're still putting in a shift, a bit like Bayer Leverkusen, who are already champions. Inter putting in a good run. Let's have a look at the recent performances for Inter Milan. As I say, if you want the full research, it's there at footballtradingprofits.com for you. Where I look a lot more in depth. We look at goal scorers as well, potential of goals before half-time, that kind of thing. Spanish La Liga, it's an excellent coupon today, as you could see. Sociedad and Las Palmas, this looks about right for Real Sociedad. Real Madrid, I think they're still involved in the Champions League. Mr. Soccerway can tell me. I'm sure they're still involved. Let's have a quick look. PSG and Dortmund, Real Madrid and Bayern. So, got to be very careful here. We'll make sure that whether Real Madrid have anything to play for and whether they can sacrifice 3 points today. Can they afford to sacrifice points? Because they will likely be swapping the side round today. Going to get the big guns will be rested. Well, they've got a huge gap at the top. They can afford to drop 3 points. So watch out for Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and Dortmund. They can all afford to drop points today. I would expect in that case, if I was the manager of Real Madrid, I would be putting out a whole new first 11. How about Cadiz? Do Cadiz have any motivating factor for them today? This could be one to lay Real Madrid if they lead. Cadiz, yeah, relegation threatened, must win. They'll be edging towards the 30-point barrier if they win, but they still remain third bottom, which will be troubling for them. Girona and Barcelona. This is you wouldn't be discounting Girona here. They have already beaten Barcelona this season. So they have that in the locker, a 4-2 win and a 0-0. So they're not going to be fearing anything, Girona. This could be a very good match. Could be a both teams to score match, this one as well. So I'll look on this one with interest from a goals perspective. But 2.3, the favourite, is telling you we can't discount Girona. Mallorca and Atletico Madrid. Well, Mallorca are normally a tough nut to crack at home. You could back 0-0 pre-match. Atletico Madrid, though, have an air of solidity about them. You always seem to trust them against these lower half sides. There's still business to be done for Mallorca, although they look safe. They've got a cushion of 2 consecutive win cushion above Cadiz. As far as Atletico are concerned, Atletico Bilbao, in winning yesterday, are keeping the squabble for the Champions League places alive. So the onus is on Atletico Madrid to just keep that 3-point gap or increase it today with that game in hand. So plenty to play for both of these two sides. You'll be laying any late draw. Those are the main matches, of course. We've got a whole load of others throughout. We've got the Austrian Bundesliga relegation group, Croatian HNL1 League. Be looking at OsieJack today, odds on favourites with home advantage. You can sometimes get a trade or two out of the Czech Fortuna League. CSKA Budějovice and Jablonec are the odds on favourites at home today. Slavia Prague are playing in the Championship group. So the league has been split. We saw that last week, didn't we? It was split into 3. You've got the Championship group. I think you've got the Conference League group, and then you've got the relegation group. Slavia Prague are in the Championship group. This is going to be the squabble for the Champions League and Europa League places, I would say. Usually a side well worth following, Slavia Prague. Well, you can tell it's a bank holiday because it's the last day of the English Championship. You can tell it's the last day of the English Championship because every single team is playing at the same time. Now, I've done a little bit at the research to take you through who needs what, which matches to avoid, which matches to play in. Let's have a look. If Ipswich draw, they are automatically promoted. Leeds in 3rd place must win in case Ipswich lose. If Norwich draw, they will guarantee a promotion playoff place. West Brom may need just a draw to confirm their promotion playoff place, given their superior goal difference. Hull simply must win in case Norwich and West Brom falter. If that's the case, Hull will get into the promotion playoff places. Rotherham are relegated. Huddersfield a negative 15 goal difference and second from bottom. A win will put them on parity with Plymouth, the last place outside the relegation zone, but the goal difference suggests that Plymouth should survive. Unless Huddersfield scores 16 and Plymouth don't score, or Plymouth lose by a considerable margin. Birmingham must win to have a chance at survival. Blackburn and Sheffield Wednesday only need to draw to confirm survival of the season. So watch out. There are a number of sides who only need the draw. Don't forget 0-0 is a draw. But I'm sure if they only need the draw, they'd rather score first. They don't want a 0-0 and then to concede a very, very late goal. League One playoff, Oxford and Peterborough. Like yesterday's playoff, anything can happen. It could be a nervy 1-0 affair or 0-1 affair. It could be a 3-1, 1-3. I don't know. These are one-off matches. They're very tough to read pre-match. So I'll leave that at 7:45 for you fans of Oxford and Peterborough. Good luck this evening if you are a fan of these two. These are nervy affairs. Very tough for me to get a handle on. One of our summer leagues is playing today, the Finnish Veikkausliiga. Ekenas, I think, are newly promoted. So you'll be targeting Ekenas today. HJK Helsinki need the 3 points. This is a derby-style fixture, the second for KUPS, having already played HJK this season. These three are likely to squabble for the title. No wonder this is 2.55 the favourite, but I would slightly advantage KUPS here on their win against HJK in the opening match of the season. That put down a real solid marker. It's taken a while to load, so I'll leave it at that. So these will be worth following today. French League 2. Again, look at the standings. Make sure there's a motivating factor for any involvement in today's French League 2 matches. Auxerre, Paris FC. Auxerre, top of the league. Well, they haven't got that arrow, so that's suggesting there's still work to be done. Indeed, there's a 3-point gap, but they've got a game in hand. Auxerre won the last 2 matches. Angers won last night. So they're keeping up the pressure. Their task is to get an automatic promotion spot. Saint-Etienne, vastly improved this season, having been in French League 2 for far too long. could be on the cusp. But they'll be playing a playoff semi-final against one of these two, I think. Paris FC, plenty to play for them. Seine, Laval, arguably Pau are waiting in the wings in case Paris FC slip up for that promotion quarter-final against fourth. So Auxerre, Paris FC, loads to play for. Guingamp and Saint-Etienne, we already know with Saint-Etienne, must keep that gap between them and Rodez. Must try to enter the automatic promotion spots. With Angers winning yesterday and Auxerre likely to win today. Or Auxerre having a tough match today against the top 5 side who desperately need to win. This is an opportunity for Saint-Etienne, arguably. Guingamp, mid-table mediocrity, but they are only 5 points away from that quarter-final place, so it's a must-win for every single side in French Ligue 2. That's what you want to see at this stage of the season. You want to see must-wins throughout. So that's well worth following. Bundesliga 2 is hotting up as well. Kaiserslautern odds on. 12 o'clock kickoffs. I'll be around for these, I think. I'll be following them for you a bit later on. So lots and lots and lots of football as you'd expect on a bank holiday Saturday. And keep continuing. We had Ireland yesterday. Hapoel Beersheva, all hail to the ale. Again, where we have Hoffenheim, Man United, etc. Tough to read. Hapoel Beersheva, normally very, very reliable. And Maccabi Haifa, favourite as well. So this will be on the watch list today as well. Just one Elite Serie A match today. Brann, very strong favourite against Rosenborg. And we've got the Oberliga. We will be getting into this in more depth once the Elite Leagues are finished. These are our summer leagues, so get to know them well. Finland, Norway, Sweden, Ireland. Very good. You can get some very good angles throughout the summer from these leagues. And I'll leave it at that. Head on over to youtube.com/@football trading profits. You'll see the live section here. I'll be placing a live stream a bit later on for members. I think it's members today. So come along. We've been in really good form, particularly this week. Got you that massive 40-1 winner a couple of days ago, Tottenham under 21s. You could have got even more than that, having laid Nottingham Forest under 21s as well. You'd have got a huge return on that one, I sincerely hope. So come in. We're in good form. I hope to see you. Have a great day. I'll be around from 12:30, definitely 12:30 for the English Championship, and 2:30 p.m. for the live stream. I hope you can make it. Have a great bank holiday.